I felt a lot of like anger, shame, because like I pride myself on being this like a really assertive, independent woman. Yet behind the scenes, I was being abused so badly. Why didn't you leave your partner earlier? I think there were many moments throughout the 6-month relationship that I wanted to leave, and I did try to leave. Before I had this experience, I always thought that like if a guy ever hits me, like that's it, like, it's the end of the relationship. I never thought that I would be someone in a violent relationship and couldn't leave. Throughout the relationship, there are moments that he was like actually like really physical or rough with me, but I think there was 3 major incidents where he like basically really was super violent to me. And the final one was the one that you all read in the news, the one where he broke like so many of my bones. I was in a hospital for 3 weeks, had a brain haemorrhage, blah blah blah, things like that. So after that incident, he just didn't contact me anymore. There was just no more communication after that. I like to think it was a state-mandated breakup. Yeah, obviously if someone keeps like hitting you and stuff, or is nasty towards you, eventually you'll think that it's pointless and you just wouldn't stay on. But in violent relationships or abusive relationships, there are great moments too. There are really high moments where you will feel like really happy. With him, I always felt like I could be myself. I didn't really like have to hide like who I am. So people need to understand there's a high and there's a low, and even though the low seems like absolutely like horrible, the high could make people stay. It's like a drug. It's no different from like any like drug out there. Yeah. What was my first thought upon waking up in the hospital? How could he do this to me? Yeah, that was my first thought. I went to the mirror and looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, whoa, like my face was so horribly disfigured. It was all a tangled mess of blood. And I was still thinking, oh, you know what? If he goes to prison, I'll still wait for him when he comes out. Because like I said, it was a breakup without a breakup. It was a state-mandated breakup and we couldn't contact each other. So it was very painful. I lost someone who was a great part of my life, even though it was like full of chaos and everything. I think I was like crying most of the time. I was also spending my time reading a lot, so I think that sort of helped. And I slowly came to the realization that this person doesn't care for me at all, has zero interest for my welfare, and would not risk anything to protect himself, meaning he would not even come to me to apologize or visit me or whatever. I felt a lot of like anger, shame, because like I pride myself on being this like a really assertive, independent woman. Yet behind the scenes, I was being abused so badly. I slowly realized like through therapy and stuff that actually maybe I didn't really have a high self-worth at all. And that was a hard pill to swallow. So definitely the impending court case was a big push factor for me to prep myself, because I knew it's something that I couldn't back out of. Because the police was involved, I had 3 years to prepare for the court case. So throughout that, I was already embarking on my journey of healing. I'm not just doing this for me. There's a lot of people out there who are getting abused, so I cannot just go there and like be whatever about it. It built me up, I would say. Yeah, if anything at all, it just built me up. Okay. Do you feel you have fully healed? Physically, probably still in the healing process, because even just like last year, I have to go for surgery for my hand again. Psychologically, I would say I'm in a much better place. Healing is not linear, because like there are days where I feel compassion for my ex. I feel like I can forgive him already. Next thing I know, maybe some days after, like the rage would surface again. I would be angry again. I think I was fortunate enough, like I rarely have flashbacks or nightmares. So I think when I was in hospital, somehow I was being referred to PAVE to go through this group counselling with a number of women who were in a similar situation as me. I mean, I didn't want to go because I still had this misconception of women in violent relationships. Even though I was one, I thought, okay, they are very meek, feeble women, not assertive, and they are just really afraid of everything. And I eventually went, and I got a shock of my life because these women were not what I expected. There were people who were smart, funny, brilliant, they had great jobs. So at PAVE, when I hear those stories of how these women were being abused, I was so angry. I was so furious, how could any man treat a woman like that? And after a while it struck me, how come I'm so angry for these women, but I was not angry for myself the way that I was being treated? So it all boils down to a lack of self-love. Yeah, so that made me see the light in a way. After that relationship, I actually did not have fear that I would meet another abusive partner. I have become very wary and very cautious, and I would say much more adept than before at spotting out red flags. I wasn't even looking out for a relationship, I guess, and actually I feel that that's something that I could never imagine myself to be, 5 years ago. I've befriended myself. I'm my own best friend. I'm happy doing things alone. There's so many things to do alone. Yeah, I'm just really happy. Okay. What would I say to my past self? Be kind and gentle to yourself the way you are kind and gentle to others. I think I had lots of compassion for people. I could empathize with people who were in a lot of pain. But when I was suffering myself, I had no self-compassion. I was always very harsh on myself. I think what's important for these victims to know is that I feel that logically, they already know a lot of these things. They know that, oh, this is not healthy and this is not good. But they can't help but feel for the person or feel so connected to the person. After the victim gets abused heavily, that's a small window of opportunity where someone, an outsider, can come in and sort of shake them up and not go back. But the person helping must not have expectations, must not judge the victim. Instead of being so quick to pass advice, tell them you should break up, no. Be there for them, listen to them. Maybe just ask questions. I feel like asking questions is the best way to ask, snap people out of their delusion. Ask them maybe, if he really loves you, why would he hit you? I guess more awareness could be raised to victims of violence can go to. What I hope people can take away from hearing my story is that abusive relationship is very, very common. Even if it's not physical, some people may not even realize that they are in an abusive relationship because it's so normalized to them. Don't be afraid of being alone. It's better to be in solitude and learn more about yourself than be in a relationship that's not good for you out of fear of being alone. If this did not happen, I would not be who I am today. I would not be where I am today, and I'm very content with that. So that's the best thing that came out of it all. I'm happy with myself.
Over the past 3 years, there has been a steady increase in the number of family violence cases. Rachel eventually got the help that she needed, but only after she was badly hurt. These are some of the common red flags of an unsafe relationship. But red flags can also appear in less obvious forms. If you feel lousy about yourself because of what your partner says and does to you, or you feel like you're walking on eggshells or have to report your every move, remember, love shouldn't hurt. If you or anyone you know are in danger, talk to a professional. Here are some resources and helplines. There is also a signal for help that you can use, especially over video calls.